Oh, apparently someone's saying Jay's in chat.
I
Jay
am.
is in chat?
Oh, wait. Sorry. Oops.
Is this Jay?
No. It's the other guy.
Other Jay? I'll debate you and Pinesap right now.
Right now.
Oh my gosh. Get this nerd out of here.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm just trying to chill in my stream. This guy's like, oh, will you please? Yeah, why are you running? Why are you running, guys?
That's the other thing, too. Like, I mean, when I got texted about doing another debate, I was at work. I'm like, I'm not debating you while I'm at work, bro. Like, we can set up a formal thing with a moderator, but I'm not doing this like at work. You know, I'm trying to make bulletins and stuff like that. That's not it.
Debate him. He's gone already. Come on, Christian. Let River Run join. I'll let River Run join. Okay, River Run said based. Cole said, hey, Wagner. Hey, hey, Wario. Why is the Anglican liturgical so autistic and have every saint from Catholicism and Orthodoxy? I'm chilling. I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, it's chill. It's chill.
Also,
yeah, because we're like really ecumenical and stuff, and Pope Francis like wishes he could be as chill as we were. Really.
Yeah, thanks for the $2, bro. Dude, you're scared. You're so scared. Should I let Jay on? Should I actually let Jay on? Oh, dude, Pinesap just left. Pinesap's so scared right now.
Dude, I gotta ask him this question about the Russian Orthodox Bible. It's so over for him. He's cooked. The
Russian Orthodox Bible.
He's cooked.
Yeah, come on, Paul, rejoin. Wait, Riverrun wants to join. Though he's gonna have like Luigi or something. Give him the link. Give him the invite link. Okay, I'll send it to River just in case he wants to join. I don't know where that came from. But why did you answer this? Why don't you answer this question about why Anglican liturgical stuff is so autistic? And have every saint and Orthodox.
The truth is autistic. Deal with it. I don't even know what that means.
Why don't you guys why don't you guys have saints though? Why don't you guys have saints? Why do you only have our saints?
You know, I think it really is sad. We need to like work on this. C.S. Lewis next to be canonized.
No, he's working. Let Jay join. Let Jay join. Does he want to celebrate?
Free Jay.
Does he want to celebrate? If he wants to celebrate, he can join. I'll let him celebrate. I'll DM him on Twitter right now. Where's Pinesap?
Pinesap is disappearing into the void.
Yeah, but then he'll say that I was running again. He'll say I'm running again. Congrats on 10K. Thank you. You have to unhide him. He's not on here. Oh, Sappy's back. We're apparently letting Jay on. That's what
you didn't hear me, but I was going to the restroom.
Okay, thank you. Oh, you said you mentioned it earlier. I thought you said you couldn't. I couldn't hear you going to the restroom. I was like, okay, bro.
No, yeah.
Okay, are we sending the invite link to Jay to chill?
If he wants to chill, that's fine. I don't feel like doing a full debate right now, but I mean, I don't mind doing a debate in the future that's formal, but.
Okay, let me see. Jay Dyer 007. Okay, let's see. Crap, why can't I DM him? There you go. I accepted the request. I sent him the StreamYard link.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. I will not be afraid to mute this guy if he starts trying to talk over me again.
Hey, fair's fair, right? This is what the Discord server's like.
Yeah, so true.
No, dude, dude, I got banned from Dyer's Discord like just a week ago because this guy kept muting me every time I was insisting that like St. Augustine believed Donatists have valid sacraments, and he was like, no, you don't understand how validity works. Like, just because you receive a baptism doesn't mean that it actually has any effect until you join the church. I'm like, okay, you're like not understanding what Augustine is saying. Like, Augustine clearly says the Donatists have valid sacraments, and that if you cannot go to a Catholic church, then you have to go to a Donatist church. And he's like just muting me every time. It's so embarrassing. Like, let people talk, buddy. This is the culture that Dyer promotes.
Yeah, I mean, the basic thing is like, I'm cool if people are more aggressive or whatever during the debates. That's a normal part of debate. You know, I get it. There's the rhetorical element, but it's like when you can't even let someone finish a point, it's like, are you really debating their point, or are you more just trying to do this obfuscation of the essence of their argument? You know what I mean? Like, I still go to the fact that like during our conversation over Twitter, you know, like I wasn't even half done finishing my point, and he like jumps in and cuts it off, completely missing the reason like why I'm bringing up Dr. John Joy. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, that's why if you want good Orthodox apologetics, you need to follow Jeem Apologetics on YouTube. Everybody, you hear me? Jeem Apologetics.
Who's Jeem? I actually don't know who Jeem is, to be honest.
You should go on a live stream with him sometime. He's a really neat guy.
Jeem Apologetics.
Jeem has the noose. I needed to say that's
looks like it. Is his at Jeem196?
It is Jeem996 on 996. Twitter.
Oh, I was looking at his YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, if you just look up Jeem Apologetics, he has like 5,000 subscribers.
You have to check these. How's it going, Jay? Just have to check
What's up?
Chats real
How y'all
quick.
doing?
We're doing good. We're doing
good.
Wagner.
You want to try a reset? Be on friendly terms.
A reset on friendly? Yeah, I'm okay,
Yeah,
Jay.
I'm down with
If
that.
you're okay, I'm okay. Okay, everything's behind us. Okay. Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
There's even fireworks in the background. Let's go.
4th of July, 10,000 crazy streams, being all ecumenical up in here.
Hey, Jay, when did you hit? When did you hit 10K? It's probably a while ago.
Who, me?
Yeah.
10? Probably 2015, 16, somewhere in there.
2015, 16. Yeah, that was a little bit before my time, Jay.
Well, when did you really start streaming? Like a year ago, 2 years ago?
So I started blogging in 2019. Probably wasn't until 2021 when I started streaming. I've recently been getting into like the edited style. I mean, I'm not an expert comedian like you, Jay. So it's kind of streaming's a hard business, you know. So I have to go to the edited style. It's better for the the nerd stuff that I.
Well, the edited stuff can do good if your channel's monetized, but I got demonetized a long time ago. So for me, really, live stream's the only thing that works. So it doesn't really make sense to do a lot of editing. But yeah, one thing I'd like to say to Pinesap is we can reset too if you want. I'm sorry we had a heated exchange there with the issue of epistemology, but you focus on ecclesiology. My focus isn't that. So Ubi's a lot better debater at ecclesiology. So
yeah, that's totally fun. We totally reset. It's all good now.
Another thing too on live streams, one thing I do, or when I open it up for live stream, it's not formal, so it's always in that style of just arguing back and forth. But I do formal debates, so I'm not totally opposed to that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
For sure.
If you wanted to do a formal debate on a certain issue, and I thought it was an issue that I would do well on, I mean, I'm not an expert in everything, and there's certain things that I don't want to debate. But if it's something that I think that I'm, well read on, have time to prepare, I'd absolutely be for that. As long as we can get a good moderator going.
I think the difference though is that a lot of the stuff that probably you really find interesting, I don't really find that interesting anymore. So for me, things like epistemology or theophanies, biblical theology, that's more interesting to me than like the papal ecclesiological debate or even the filioque debate. So
Yeah, I find the sorry Pinesap, but I do find the papacy stuff kind of boring. It's like,
Dude,
yeah, let's like rehash the same 4 talking points that we've already like been talking about for literally ever. I mean, I'm talking about this. I know I'm talking about this as a filioque guy, so that's kind of whatever. But I find the filioque to be a lot more spiritually enriching than a lot of the papacy debate stuff.
Is the papacy what convinced you, Pinesap? Is that why? Was that like the main issue? Because people have different things that convince them,
Yeah, I would say for me, it was the main issue because, in Anglicanism, I mean, there were so many other Catholic elements in kind of the Anglo-Catholic background that I really didn't need any convincing on. Like anything Mariological, I was totally down with. There wasn't really a whole lot else in terms of like maybe stuff with the episcopate or what have you. So the papacy was almost like my biggest stumbling block to becoming Catholic. And ironically, it became like the issue that I was like the most interested in.
Would you say the episcopacy?
Yeah, like the bishops and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So you have an Anglican background.
Yeah, I was I was Episcopalian or born into the Episcopal Church of America. When I had like any semblance of religion in me, I instantly like renounced all allegiance to the Episcopal Church, and then I started identifying myself more as like an Anglo-Catholic.
Yeah, that's what people are saying. Add like the joke. Add Lofton. That's the thing. Lofton would never do something like this ever. He would like Jay. I do respect you, Jay, for like just coming on to chill. Like Lofton, I mean that guy. He never gives me the time of day ever.
Dang.
I don't
even wish you a happy birthday, dude.
He doesn't even give a bar that time of day. He used to.
Well, hey,
did you see the birthday troll? Did you see the birthday troll, Jay?
Of who?
So I had this on my birthday this year. I decided what I wanted is one thing. I wanted Michael Lofton to wish me a happy birthday. So I got my entire following to spam him all day on Twitter to wish him a happy birthday. And he reached 100,000 subscribers that day. So his entire 100,000 subscriber celebration chat was just Bill telling him to wish me a happy birthday. And he had like a low-key breakdown during the stream and eventually typed in the chat, "Happy birthday, Christian," like exclamation point.
All right, well, I'll give you props. That's a pretty epic troll. I have to give you props on that.
Yeah,
he's like, this is highly unnuanced and uncharitable.
Highly.
Yeah, because you were on Reason and Theology back in the day, weren't you?
So you guys remember, like originally it was just interviews on the topic of like Eastern theology, right?
Yeah.
And then it turned into when they had Craig as a moderator and they had as a co-host and a bar on there. It was pretty good. Like it seemed like a pretty interesting, and they would even have like Orthodox and Uniate scholars on. And then there was this huge sort of bloviating of Lofton's ego. And I think that's what eventually that ran Craig off. And then that ran Ibarra off. But there was a lot of really good like discussions back at the time. I remember I was on there with Lofton just talking about Palamos for like 2 hours one time. Everything was cool at the time. But then he decided that, I don't know what he decided or what made him go in that direction.
Yeah, because Lofton, I had no idea, but when he started Reason and Theology, and for a while he was Eastern Orthodox.
Yeah,
I always forget that too.
Yeah, it's like this. It's the Lofton arc is one of the strangest stories, and I mean now it's like this guy. I mean, when did he start Reason and Theology? 4 years ago. So he's been Roman Catholic probably about as long as I've been Roman Catholic, which is 3 years. And I mean, he's rebuking Cardinal Zen. He's out there, he's Pope Francis's top guy. I mean, I thought I was Pope Francis's top guy, but apparently,
I think when he went after Dr. Phaser was like in that weird way. That was kind of like, and I think Catholic Answers told him to chill out. So I heard. So that was a little much.
It was a little much because it's like, even if you disagree with Dr. Phaser, like he's a good guy. He's not a bad dude by any means. Like, there's
I have my share of beef with Dr. Phaser, but I actually had a little contact through somebody, briefly through somebody close with Dr. Phaser. So I hope I made a good impression. I want to go back to those. Okay, let me see. Ed Phaser. You guys remember like the thumbnails and titles for those videos, the Ed Phaser videos from Michael? They were like absolutely unhinged.
I think so. Yeah. Like it had his face spliced in when he was on, I think like on EWTN or something like that. Let me check real quick.
Yeah, let me see. It's like famous Catholic philosopher bullies me or something like unhinged like that.
It
Real
was
quick,
something like bully.
Can anybody find chat? Can you find this? Can you find that?
I don't want to topic shift, but I just want to say this, Jay, since we're having our reset. At first, I was giving you crap for the Married to a Funko Pop song. Honestly, I love it. It's like a low-key banger, dude. I love that song now.
I appreciate that. I've been giving you crap too, so I apologize for all the crap I gave.
Oh no, it's all good. And any of my mean tweets or whatever, I'll delete them. You know, there's no
You don't have
reason
to
to
delete
be
them, it's
like
fine.
at odds or anything like
Yeah,
that.
Jay, I'm gonna keep mean tweeting because that's
You can do
I'm gonna keep
So let me
trolling
say the first thing that made me mad that you did Wagner was that Tim and I are really close. We got to be good buddies. So you and Tim had a big spat, and that
called him a
pissed me off.
sodomite.
That pissed me off. Calling him a sodomite pissed me off.
Yeah,
So that's why I was like, all right, I'm not gonna interact with this dude.
yeah.
I just I don't know. I like Tim. So
I shouldn't have said that about Tim. I mean, yeah, I would be fine if Tim wanted to bury the hatchet too. But yeah, you and Tim, you guys do some stuff together sometimes.
yeah, I think we were gonna have a. Do you know Nick? His buddy Nick.
No.
Nick makes movies. He made a couple of those really popular documentaries about things I won't mention on YouTube, but they got a lot of traction. And so Nick is making a new documentary. It's kind of a takeoff on the stupid Daily Wire thing of what is a woman.
Yeah.
And it's called What a Woman Is. So anyway, we just filmed a bunch of stuff related to that. But then I went pretty hard on Rome. So I don't know. I don't know if he'll still put me in his documentary or not. But anyway.
Jay, you should talk to Sam to get you in touch with Steinful. A lot of my editing style is inspired by him.
I thought is Unionist Initiative. Is that not your website or your channel?
Oh no. So Unionist Initiative. So there's so Unionist Initiative has his own channel. He's done a lot of the translations of Beckus and Bessarion. And he has his own channel. He did like YouTube editing and stuff like that. So he kind of partnered with me for Distinguo, and then he helps me out with my titles and thumbnails because they used to suck a lot. Like, we're being honest.
Who's Steinful? Is that who does the thumbnails?
No. So I have no idea who Steinful is.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess if you like Unionist Initiative's editing style, that's the guy who's like the genesis of
Is that who did the video that you're talking about, the new filioque argument you were making?
Yeah, that was Unionist Initiative.
Yeah,
He did the video. But no, my filioque video, that was kind of just kind of wanted to rehash a lot of the stuff that I've already went through. I'm not really sure what direction I want to go into next, making videos about, because there was a lot of stuff I was doing with like Reformed people trying to quote St. Augustine against us on justification. Well, I don't know if you think we disagree on justification, but
no, I mean, well, I assume that we would agree against Protestants about justification and Augustine.
Yeah, I guess we would just kind of disagree on what exactly we mean by grace, whether it's uncreated or created. So, yo, Jay, I need you to perform I Need an Alien to Twerk for Me, low-key banger.
I haven't listened to that one.
I need the royalty-free background track. So all those songs are just random, like royalty-free tracks that I found and just randomly singing over. So, but the have you guys heard the Matt Dillamonkey song?
No, I haven't.
No, I got to listen to that one.
I'm about to pull it up. Okay, let me see. Matt
Dillamonkey, that guy's a character, quite frankly. I remember when who was it? The guy who runs the Crucible was gonna have the debate with him. Yeah, and he just ran off.
Yeah, he just
got
left.
so angry.
Okay, let me share.
Yeah, you know he dates a
Hey, let's not get the channel banned, buddy.
A person
we just reached 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah,
you know,
a person with a different lifestyle.
I'm a master of speaking in code. You don't have to worry.
Yeah, Skittles.
Well, Matt dates a person who is
really. Who is Matt Dillahunt?
He's like most famous like Reddit atheist debater out there.
Oh, really? Yeah, I'm not into the lore. Okay, I'm gonna play it. Let me make sure I'm on 1 time speed. Okay, we're good.
Mad till a monkey, you climbed up in that tree. What you doing up there? Why you scared? Why you running from every debate that you counter now? You ran from Andrew and from me. Mad till a monkey, you like them female monkeys with them bananas between their trees, hanging down. Upside down frown, that's a smile.
Bro.
You gotta hear the monkey part.
What you doing to me? Ooh,
Here's the monkey part.
ooh, ooh.
There it goes. All right.
Now we're done. Wow, that was beautiful.
Now there's another one. Somebody made an AI version of it with an actual black choir. It's crazy.
Okay,
Yeah,
I want to see that one.
Somebody's asking about the let me see, the insulting of the female saint stuff. I mean, Jay, I will concede. I guess I will concede. In as much as yes, a lot of our saints. Well, I guess a lot of saints in general, they do strange stuff like that. Like I'm sure you're aware of the stylite tradition where they would, sit on these stylites, and they would have things tied around them so tight that maggots would grow in their skin. I'm sure you obviously know about the holy fool tradition in Orthodoxy. I guess I'm kind of conflicted on it, because I could absolutely see, mentioning this for somebody else's tradition. But I guess, would you think it's fair to say that, yeah, sometimes saintly people do like really strange things?
Yeah, and I agree that there's some odd things with people like the stylites for sure. But the difference I would say is that if you look at the devotion to Sacred Heart, how central that is to the last several hundred years of Roman Catholicism, I mean, that's pretty much bound up with Mary Alacoque. And if Mary Margaret Alacoque's visions or revelations aren't legit, my approach would be that, a saint doing something that's harmful or going too far in their asceticism is different than a purported vision or speaking of Christ to, do something like carving in your flesh. Yeah. And that's very intimately bound up in the encyclical, if I recall, with Sacred Heart. So to me, it's a different kind of category than just, because I think everybody has ascetics that maybe go too far or do this or that. But, if it was something confined to, this or that convent or monastery or something like that. But I mean, it's very crucial to, modern Roman Catholic piety, almost probably next to like Fatima.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's Pius the 11th says that the Sacred Heart is the kind of like compendium of the gospel. Yeah, so I guess I don't mean to turn this into like a debate or discussion or whatever. I guess I would say that in Roman Catholic theology, we're comfortable with saying that private revelations, there are certain misapprehensions from the visionaries, to where their own, I don't know, you'd probably call it like some sort of delusion, but their own psyche can kind of get in the way, and they can add things to their private revelations, which is different from the inspiration of Scripture, where the authors are probably guided by the Holy Spirit.
I would agree with that too, in the sense that like in the Orthodox tradition, we have elders that we would say have clairvoyance or something like that, but we wouldn't take a message of clairvoyance or something like that and say that it's on the level of divine revelation. So I think we would agree in principle there. But where I would take issue is I would say that in the case of the way Deuteronomy 13, Deuteronomy 18, and Galatians 1 speak, is that if the revelation is not correct, then you're supposed to not follow that person. So they wouldn't be a true prophet or true vision. They would be a false prophet. And the visions that she has, again, are pretty substantial to her claim to be a saint and to the Sacred Heart stuff.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense, but I'd probably just reply that when it comes to Galatians 1. Oh wait, Mario was here and he left. I'll have to text him to come back.
Oh, he left? Dang.
Yeah. come back. Tell them to come back. I guess I would say that like Galatians 1, that's obviously talking about something that's like against the gospel. But when it comes to Deuteronomy, it's talking about a prophet that's a bearer of public revelation, which might not be satisfying to you as a response. But yeah, I would have to look to see how our authors traditionally treated the issue of like errors in private revelation in the book of Deuteronomy. I'm not sure I've really read that much about this.
Well, just to one point on that before you go, Pinesap, just that the reason I mentioned Galatians 1, I know Paul's talking about the gospel, but my argument for a long time, like against Muslims, has been that Paul's argument is following the principle of Deuteronomy 13 and 18 about people who claim that type of stuff, revelations, prophecies, etc. So even though, yes, he's talking specifically about the gospels, I think it's in line with the principle of what's in Deuteronomy 13 and 18.
So he says, get the Diamond Brothers in here. Diamond Brothers have had me. Luigi and Mario are on here. Yeah, Diamond Brothers have had me blocked for the longest time.
Welcome back. We're here, and I've got Luigi with me. We're good.
Yo, Luigi, did you text while drive to tweet that about me?
No, I got my co-pilot over here.
No, Mario, you stabbed me in the back, brother. What's going on, buddy?
What's that?
You stabbing me in the back, brother? What's going on?
I wouldn't think twice about stabbing you in the back, but I didn't do that.
Yeah, I think everybody here agrees, Jay Athanasius, that Anglican orders are invalid.
Yeah.
Rough. It's over. Yeah. What does Jay Dyer think about the validity of the Masoretic? What do you think about that?
Oh my gosh. Can we get this
Luigi, this isn't about you. None of this is about you.
You already got cooked on this. You
actually got cooked. You got cooked, Jay.
Luigi, you got cooked.
No, other Jay, not Jay Dyer, Jay. Other Jay. Athanasius Jay.
Yeah, thank you. You said we can't use the Septuagint at all. I gave you an example where you have to use the Septuagint for it to be an accurate quote, and you had no answer to it. You got cooked.
When did I say you can't use the Septuagint? When did I ever
say
say
that explicitly? Anyone can wind this back.
Where do you think we got the Deuterocanon from?
You said explicitly that we cannot use the Septuagint.
That is not what I said.
You said that explicitly.
I never said that. Clip, source.
Everyone can
pull up your phone right now. Everyone can wind it back right now.
Everyone can wind it back.
He's walking it back. He's basically conceded. Okay, I'm muting Jay Athanasius. He's not allowed to talk anymore. You're ruining the vibe, Jay. Other Jay.
Thank you.
Little Jay, not big Jay. Jay Dyer, how tall are you? That's been a big point of dispute.
6'1" / 6'2", depending on one.
I'm 6'2", so I think I'm like slightly taller than you if you're between the two. You know?
Well, it depends on whether I'm wearing my heels or not.
Having met Luigi in real life, I can confirm that he is 9 feet tall.
He's 9. Yeah, Jay, if you're ever on Charlotte, I mean, you gotta come down. My wife will make you the best monkey bread ever. Charlotte, I'm Charlotte.
Wagner's wife makes great spaghetti.
Dude, yeah, my wife did brownies. Do you remember that, bro?
Charlotte, North Carolina?
Yeah, Charlotte, North Carolina. That's where I'm at.
Well, then me and Christian were supposed to hang out in Detroit, but things fell through too. I was really disappointed.
Yeah, is everybody going to AFPAC?
Everyone should.
What? If Wagner and Dyer were women, this beef from today would have lasted 30 years.
That's true.
7 hours.
That's so true.
Very
I
true.
can drink for that.
Hey, Unionist Initiative said Gene's here to tag me out, by the way.
Check my I don't feel like checking my DMs. Jay, so you know how you wanted to have that wrestling match with Gideon Lazar? You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet I could destroy in a wrestling match, dude. I wrestled back in the day.
You probably would beat me in wrestling, but I'm thinking about trying to find somebody to box. I was really wanting maybe like Lofton or somebody to do a creator class.
Yeah, I would do.
I don't think you'll do it though.
I've never boxed before in my life.
Well, I'm not experienced.
Be real. If I were to start Mario Con once a year, and I just invited all these different people on
Mario,
Twitter.
I would just like absolutely.
And we do a creator clash where we just like fight each other with pool noodles and try to knock each other off the platforms. Dude. Remember Wipeout? Remember that show Wipeout?
Yeah.
If I hosted like my version of that, I invite Jay, I invite Wagner, I invite Pinesap, I invite Ubi. I just invite all these different apologists, and then you guys just fight each other. What do you guys think? Is this a bad idea?
Dude, I would
be
come
awesome.
for it.
I'd be down for that.
I mean, Wagner, you would probably beat me for sure in wrestling, but it might be a good boxing match. I'm not some kind of badass, but it sounds fun to do.
Yeah, we just gotta like get a bare knuckles boxing ring going. Just absolutely.
Just go
That'd be
straight up
so
bloody.
Can you imagine like first round? Who might dude, William Albrecht would absolutely destroy us all. Like, let's be honest. He would just kill
Dude,
us
that's
all.
real.
Like, I'd dab for that one.
I see all his thumbnail edits and they're like this, and he's just like low key showing off his bicep in every single one.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab another beer.
That sounds good. Oh, Jay, what I was going to ask before I got cut off.
Beautiful over here.
It was said that Paisios had visions of the future, right? I remembered. I think it was Luigi was sharing some of those visions on Twitter, but I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
I mean, there's quite a few saints and elders that have those kinds of visions. Paisios has those, yeah.
Have any of those visions happened yet, or anything like that?
I don't know about his. I'm not super studied in. I have one book of his, but it's not his. It's just his like spiritual writings.
Father Peter Hears has content on it about his fulfilled prophecies.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I know there's a really interesting one from St. John of Kronstadt that I think is fulfilled.
Oh, what's that one?
It's the vision that he sees of what. I mean, I don't want to make you guys mad, but it sounds like a clown mask.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, what's with the famous who's Jaim, by the way? I have no idea who this guy is.
Jaim.
But what's with the infamous Yabara debate where you said clown mask? I thought that was like a really Chad move right there.
The what debate?
Remember the debate with Yabara where you were just like clown mask? I thought that was hilarious when I saw it.
I may have said that. I don't remember, but
yeah, I can't find the debate anymore. I was going to listen to it earlier. I was like, everybody brought up the Yabara debate, and I was like, I want to watch that.
It's still on my channel.
I tried to look for reasonable theology, and it's not one there.
No,
I think that debate's still up. If you look it up.
Here, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, it used to be like number one on the Reason Theology channel until they just.
Right.
Dude, have you seen the number one for RNT? It's hilarious. Let me share mine.
What's the number one?
I'm muting you, Luigi. You're so loud. How do I mute this guy? There you go.
So if you want to look up the thing I'm talking about from John of Kronstadt, it's on this Russian Orthodox website here called Vision of Our Holy Father, John, the Wonder Worker of Kronstadt.
Oh, gotcha.
I think
that's
the one that I'm
look that up later.
familiar with. It's pretty good, but I don't know much about these other ones.
Yeah, where is it?
Is it in the live?
I think it's in the live. Okay, let me see. Oh no, it isn't. It's not up anymore. Yeah, it was this one. He posted it like 3 times. The Calvin Robinson thing, like shocking. Watch this video before they take it down. That was his top video forever. Like, he posted it twice, and those are his 2 top videos. The same video posted over and over again.
Dude, Calvin was tone policing everybody the other day over that woman that was ordained.
Dude, let's be honest. Calvin's the worst. Like, I don't know why all these guys are just like, oh, I need Calvin Robinson on my channel. Like, he's like, look at this base, like Anglican priest, old Catholic guy. Like, the guy said, Jay, you find this hilarious. He actually said, I believe everything in the Catechism of the Catholic Church except the worshiping Muslim, the Muslims worshiping God part. I'm like, dude, you believe in papal supremacy, but you don't believe in
Which guy? Who?
Dude, Calvin Robinson, the half black white priest guy.
Well, he says he believes in the Catholic Catechism.
He believes everything in the Catechism except the Muslims worshiping God part.
But he's Anglican, right?
Old Catholic.
He was Anglican, and then he switched to Old Catholic.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, like every Anglican in existence, he left the Anglican Church.
Well, it's so funny because, I mean, the other day, I was hanging out with my buddy, and we were going and like shopping for some new threads. And I pull open my phone, and I'm seeing like just Twitter blow up about this, like, I think like 23, 25-year-old woman who was ordained as like an Anglican priestess. And everyone's like, did you see the Calvin Robinson tweet? I'm like, what tweet is this? And he's literally the entire time like tone policing and sounding literally like a liberal, right? He's like, it's her different faith tradition and don't make fun of her. Don't mock her. I'm like, oh my goodness, brother. Gag me with a spoon. This is disgusting.
Well, I heard you guys talking about masonry earlier, right?
Yeah, we were talking about that.
You know, the history of the old Catholics, like they have a long history of being like sus into like secret society, Masonic type stuff.
Oh, no way. I didn't know that actually.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. There's a lot of sussery in old Catholics.
I don't know. I don't know if you'd be willing to, Jay, but do you want to share some of it with us? I've actually never heard that before.
If you look into the wandering bishops phenomenon, kind of the not like some of the non-canonical elements of the so-called Orthodox world, some of the wandering bishops in the Roman Catholic world, and the old Catholics, they all kind of overlap. There's not a whole lot of academic literature on this. There's a few things, but if you start with something like, I hate to recommend the book because it's not a book I would really recommend, except that it touches on this topic. It's called Sinister Forces. It's a three-volume set that deals with some of the Masonic secret society connections of wandering bishop phenomenon. But have you heard of that before? Wandering bishops?
Yeah.
Episcopi Vagantes. Yeah, a lot of that overlaps with like spies and espionage.
That makes a lot of sense. Because, with the old Catholics, like I had studied the lead up to Vatican I and stuff like that. And I'm probably mispronouncing his name because it's got the 2 dots over the O, but Dolinger and, the kind of disputes that were going on there. But I had no idea about the Masonry connection with the old Catholics.
Not all of them. I'm just saying, like, because they're kind of Episcopi Vagantes, right? They're wandering bishops. They can kind of do their own thing. But some of these groups in America, like the HOCNA, Holy Orthodox Church of North America, they have a lot of overlap with old Catholics. The old Catholics also had a lot of overlap with like people from the Golden Dawn. Have you heard of that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, the Greek Nationalist Party.
No. Not that Golden Dawn.
The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn.
Oh, actually, I don't know about that. My apologies.
Yeah, can all of y'all just make fun of Jake the Muslim Medicine?
Why would we make fun of Jake when Thomas Wagner can't even make a syllogistic argument?
You know, Jake, Jay, you know what's hilarious is people were trying to like push him into debate with me because for a while I was doing Trinity and incarnation stuff. And you know what Jake said? Jake is like, yeah, I'm not going to debate him because he doesn't have enough subscribers. I'm like, you're an absolute.
Wait, what do you mean by God being simple? Are you saying that he's stupid?
For a long time, he would debate pretty much anybody. So the subscriber number thing doesn't sound like that. Sounds like an excuse.
That's like what is the thing that Muslims do when they lie? What's that called?
Taqiyya.
Oh
yeah. Bro is pulling some taqiyya there with his subscribers. Okay, what are all your super chats suck? Let me see. Someone said, hey Jay, why do you think Groyper are a psyop?
I don't think Groypers themselves are psyops. No, I mean, I've never had problems with Nick. I've always gotten along in conversations with Nick. I mean, we had a debate on the papacy in like 2018, and then we talked about possibly doing another debate, but decided that it wouldn't be much point. Nick, I think, is focused on political stuff. So
yeah,
but I mean, I think there's any movements can have the feds try to infiltrate it, do stuff like that. And you guys notice, for example, I never promoted Kapner. I always thought that dude was sus.
Oh, who Kapner? I'm trying to remember his group.
Brother Nathaniel, the supposed.
Yes,
brother
yeah.
Nathaniel.
Oh, sorry, I didn't.
That guy sucks. Like, why does he suck? He's terrible.
He's
weird. But you notice, like, he started saying, we need to resort to any means possible, and we got to immediately have. He teams up with like Adam Green, right? So
yeah, and everyone's debated and beat Adam Green. I mean, he's like the lol cow of debates at this point.
Well, I did.
I want to see Michael Lofton do a debate. I bet he would be the lol cow of debates. He did it back in the day, didn't he?
You know, he would only. Everybody refers to this time when he was like, "Well, Lofton offered to debate you." He offered a written debate. I'm like, a written debate.
I've never heard of a written debate. You mean like a article swap or something?
Yes. I'm like, no, dude, come on. Why would I do a written debate? We have YouTube channels. Come on.
Yeah, how much money do we need to get for you to get Nicholas J. Fuentes to get on? I don't know, bro. Like, what do you want me to text him or something and say, hey, Nick, like, hop on stream? Like, you think that's how Nick functions? You think he's just like everybody's beck and call?
Dude, can't even.
What's Jay Way? What's your BMI, Jay?
Dude can't even start his own streams on time. You think he's gonna start? You think he's gonna just come on when you call? Like,
yeah, real.
Not my BMI. I don't know.
Yeah, someone wants to know your BM. Someone wants to know how much you weigh. They want to. Yeah, River Run wants to box you.
I'm like 190.
Ooh, bros like blue steel over there, man. Okay, wow. All these super chats suck. You guys need to ask cooler questions. Position on the secret space program, the moon landings. Don't you have like whole streams on this? Come on, guys. Just use a YouTube search function.
I mean, I'm a skeptic about anything like the establishment claims. So, especially science stuff. Like I take metaphysical, transcendental argument stuff to be the most certain stuff that we can have.
Yeah.
Knowledge-wise. And then like science, space stuff is like I'm the most skeptical of that stuff. So I don't have any certain position, but I don't think that the pictures that they've shown us make much sense. I think the idea of golfing on the moon is kind of absurd. But I think secret space program, that just means like black budget money that funds like surveillance and NSA stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they had like the first thing they did on the moon is had a sacrilegious Eucharist from a Presbyterian.
You know, they were Masons too.
Were they?
Yeah, like Buzz Aldrin, all of them are famous Masons. Yeah.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah.
How come it's like always how come it's like the that letter of the alphabet? You know what I'm talking about? you know what I'm talking about.
You know that letter. Yeah.
If you're Goyim, you're part of the Masons.
Well, and Jay, you can probably speak more to this. I'm just shooting from the hip, but like I think the way that the Masons essentially had one of the many ways they had ingrained themselves in kind of like the upper echelon of society was it was a very easy way to make like business connections and kind of like take your status up a huge notch. Like I remember one of the ways that the Wanderer magazine in America was established was actually because these German Catholic immigrants would come over to America and there would be these Masonic lodges that would kind of entice them to join so that they could have like money, status, and kind of all these things. And so that's why like, business class, political class people would really get involved with the Masons. But I'm sure there's a ton more there that I'm not even touching on.
Yeah, I think the real key, what I've seen, is that the best explanation of what Masonry is and how it has been so widespread and successful from a geopolitical standpoint is that they're kind of the British intelligence network. Like they're the old spy network of the British Empire. So if we understand that, we begin to understand, I think, why they set up their lodges everywhere in the world, and everywhere that Freemasonry went, you had revolutions against throne and altar. But curiously, the British throne and altar remains. I mean, I think that's kind of telling.
Well, and I know, I'm pretty sure there was a large Masonic participation in the Bolshevik Revolution too.
Oh, yeah.
Because I mean, I remember you had like lodges funding the revolutionaries and stuff like that.
There were some other bankers funding this.
Yeah, I mean,
the banking.
We all know about that one.
The banking elite use a lot of the lodges, particularly the Grand Orient lodges, which is what like Trotsky and Lenin, like they were really into Grand Orient stuff.
River Run wants to box, but Unionist Initiative J, does Doomdoor have communist influences? I don't know what Doomdoor is.
I don't either.
Dang, man,
I'm not a boxer, so I'm sure whoever.
I can't believe the British Empire is subverting like all of these monarchies through the Grand Orient lodges, like notoriously known.
The British Empire.
The British Freemasons notoriously on great terms with the Grand Orient. Awesome.
Yeah, you guys LARP about like how great Elizabeth I was. But Elizabeth, she had the chance to stop abortion in the UK, and she completely flopped on it.
I'm sure there were plenty of British Freemasons who didn't like Bolshevism, and I've talked about that quite a bit. So I'm not trying to oversimplify it. I'm just pointing out that Freemasonry itself as an institution historically seems to be, according to Jessica Harlan Jacobs, she has a whole book on it called Builders of Empire. She's just arguing that the historical rise, is that it was connected to the British intelligence structure. So it was like espionage for the British elite. But then I would say, like when you get to the period of the Cold War, there's a real Cold War between people who don't want Bolshevism and then people who, are more conservative minded, even in Britain. But if you look at something like, Quigley or Sutton, they argue that there's a higher level above even like, powerful British Masons, where we're talking about the Rhodes, Milner, Rothschild Society. Like that elite group is above the dialectics of the Cold War. So at that level, I would say, yes, they do like the Grand Orient stuff.
Yeah. There's a speculation that Sam Hyde is inquiring into Orthodoxy.
When I was up there hanging out with him, we talked about a lot of things. We didn't really go into much religious stuff. Actually ended up, Sam was pretty busy, so I hung out with him the second day, but I mainly hung out with Nick. But we didn't really talk about a lot of Orthodox stuff. So, I mean, Sam has asked like questions here and there, like in DMs or like phone conversations we've had, but not any like specific, I am inquiring into Orthodox or anything like. He just kind of asked more generic Christian questions.
Oh, okay.
What is Sam's religious views? I've never been able to pin him down because like one time he was like making fun of the Old Testament, and I found that to be really distasteful. But then like other times he'll kind of almost hint in a Christian direction. I can't really pin him down.
Yeah, that's actually a good question. I'm not sure I never did ask him what his background was. I should have, but I didn't think to. Next time I talk to him, I'll try to ask him.
I don't know who James L. Kelly is either.
That was a dude I used to know like 15 years ago, when I first started looking into Orthodox theology. He wrote a book on alchemy and critiquing Latin theology. But in my view, he kind of went off in a direction that I didn't find to be very healthy. So we just kind of went our separate ways. So I don't know what he's up to.
Yeah. Man, what is it with these guys? I would love to see Jay Dyer Luigi debate Timothy Gordon on the papacy. I would give my paychecks to that. You guys are giving like your paychecks to see internet debates.
I don't think Tim always says he doesn't really care about, not that he doesn't care about the papacy, but he doesn't care to debate the papacy. He's like, he says the only thing he will debate is like anything relating to Aristotomism. Like that's the only thing he says he's willing to debate, and he will only do it in person, which, to be fair, in-person debates are a lot more fun.
Yeah.
But the more I go, like the more I have looked at a lot of these issues, like the reason that I keep going back to epistemology is that I actually am convinced that epistemology comes first. Now I know you guys may not agree with that, but
yeah,
I do think that that's the case. So that's
I actually do kind of agree with that, Jay.
I guess I would agree with that
when I was Protestant, I actually was just talking to somebody, and they were asking about the canon, and I basically told them, I'm like, look, we can like debating over whether the Deuterocanon is canonical. I mean, we could go back and forth all day. You can say Jerome, and I could say, well, he's a minority of the fathers. You can say this about this book, and I could say that. We could basically have like very even responses on both sides. But unless like we actually discuss like what constitutes canonicity and, foundational issues of like, okay, how do we know whether a book is canonical or not? It does feel very circular. And in that sense, I do agree with you. I mean, I felt that a lot with my debate with David Erhan. I mean, I felt like both of us had a pretty good showing during that debate, but it really felt like it would have been nice if there had been, an ability to have foundational discussions of like, okay, well, I don't think it's okay for you to deny St. Augustine and these fathers, but you think it's okay. So like, can we discuss why we think that's okay? And that's eventually going to bring us to a place of, discussing where religious authority can and cannot be found, which comes up in Protestant debates all the time.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think if you do a lot of arguments, like you said, with Protestants, where you're focusing on nature and question of authority, although it's not directly about epistemology, like the underlying position kind of comes back to that. And after having a lot of arguments with Thomas for many, many years, to me, it seems like the impasse, and I was having a long DM discussion with Tim about this, like our impasse isn't like, is there telos in the world? Is there causation in the world? It's like, how do we know that we have the right, axiomatic first principle starting point? So to me, it's like the modern philosophers are correct, not because they're modern philosophers, but in raising the question of, are you putting the metaphysical cart before the epistemic horse if we're going to start our first principles from natural philosophy, natural theology, etc. So to me, that's where the locus of the debate is.
Yeah. So actually, I'm not going to turn it into, I was going to start asking about natural theology. So we can talk about that some other time. Yeah. I'm actually interested in this. Is like, do you know anything about the history of Freemasonry and why the Freemasons like basically stopped being a like important force in the world?
I think they do have still some influence, but maybe, with the decline of the British Empire, the influence of Freemasonry wasn't as relevant. I mean, the Freemasons were useful in the last, the 1800s to basically overthrow all of the monarchies for the most part in the world. So they kind of serve their purpose. I mean, I don't guess there's a whole lot of use for them because they're, again, if they're kind of the proto intelligence network of the British Empire, like today's NSA or GCHQ is a more important on the grounds power network than perhaps Freemasonry, but I think it still is important for networking and people. I think it's still part of the structure, maybe not as important or relevant.
Yeah.
I might ask kind of a follow-up question to that. Do you think there's any connection? I'm sure there's like a huge sort of continuation of that Masonic power in things like, the Bohemian Grove gatherings or what have you. Would you say that's a huge continuation of like Masonry? And I know also the like Center for the it's called like the CCFR, like the Center for the Council of Foreign Relations and stuff like that. Yeah.
I think those are more like policy steering committee groups that do have obviously many Masons amongst them. So you'll like, there's a really helpful graphic that Alex always puts up where it shows like all the people that attend Bilderberg are the same people that attend the CFR, and they're the same people that attend, they're the same people that are like the CEOs of like the top 100 media companies. So, and many of them obviously would be Freemasons too. So sort of like a lot of different networking, steering group, NGOs, think tanks, foundations kind of all overlap. So they all interrelate, but I don't think there's necessarily a direct connection between Freemasonry and CFR. CFR is created in the 1920s to mirror the British Royal Institute for International Affairs. So it's like the American mirror version of their Chatham House, and it was established at Pratt House in New York in the 1920s. So it's like they tell the senators and the Congress people what to do. Like they hand down the policy to those people. So they're like a level above the elected government people.
That makes a lot of sense, actually, because there's a tendency, I think, for us to think that there's always maybe a direct connection or not so much a direct connection, more like a direct continuation in these different groups. Whereas, as you just explained, it's more like this person's here and also happens to be there. And it kind of all comes together as one, but it's like multiple different bodies.
Yeah, exactly. Steering committees, NGOs, think tanks, foundations, they all overlap. And like one dude will go from being like, like Donald Rumsfeld used to be, he was like the Secretary of Defense, and then he goes to be the in charge of Food and Drug Administration, and he gets like aspartame and all that passed, and then he'll go and be like, consultant. He'll be the head of some, defense contractor. So it's like revolving door. They'll be involved in a bunch of different things.
Yeah, my former mentor, Dr. Shiva, described it like a swarm of these elites, where it's not like a specific hierarchy of organization. You have many different trends, many different sub-factions, but it's like all the same people, and they're all internetworked to get together.
Yeah, so the people that go to Bilderberg will go to Bohemian Grove, and then they'll go to, Trilateral Commission. So they all just have the same meetings nonstop. They'll be members of the World Economic Forum. They'll be at Davos with Klaus, etc.
Well, and it's interesting because like then they try to ingrain themselves in our churches too and cause chaos. Like I know, you know, the CIA connection with John Courtney Murray is an example, or what's going on. I remember I was reading Michael Warren Davis's article on like Patriarch Bartholomew and stuff like that. And it almost seems like, please correct me if I'm wrong, Jay, I want to be more familiar with this. It seems like they're trying to set Bartholomew or prop him up in order to create disunity in the Eastern Orthodox world, especially towards Russia a little bit. Am I
No,
gauging that correctly,
right.
or is it?
Yeah, we've done many podcasts on that. That's correct.
Okay, that totally, that's what it seemed like to me too, because I didn't even realize there was that CIA connection there. And as I was like reading this Davis article, it's like, dang, like they're really trying to use Bartholomew like against like Kirill and like you know, all the Russian Orthodox and stuff like that to kind of create this disunity. Because I think if they, of course, create that disunity, it makes the Orthodox world as like less of a power block against their authority.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have seen me. I've done a lot of podcasts and talks with Jim Jotras. He's like a former. His dad was the former ambassador to Moscow back in the Cold War, and he was head of a lot of consulting for Congress and so forth. But he writes for Chronicles magazine quite often, which is a pretty well-known conservative magazine. But Jim has a lot of articles like going deep into what you're talking about with the State Department being behind a lot of that stuff. But then there was also there was a recent essay that somebody wrote about the declassified documents from the Cold War, where you had the Patriarch of Constantinople right at the beginning of the Cold War. Basically, the CIA, they were sending cables back and forth, and he basically said something like, yeah, we'll do whatever you say. So you know, the West was saying to the EP at that time, like, if you're not in bed with us, like, you're going to be run by the Soviets. So they made a decision to side with the West. And unfortunately, the EP's been in bed with the CIA ever since. So I think a lot of people maybe don't hear that I criticize that element of the EP all the time. And they think that like I just go after the papacy or something as being associated with the CIA in terms of the doctrinal warfare program like you're talking about. But I mean, it's the same program for the Roman Catholic Church that's run for the Orthodox Church. It's the doctrinal warfare program isn't just for Rome. It's also for Protestants and Orthodox as well, because if you're the American government, if you're the State Department, like, you want all of these entities to be forms of American soft power, whether Roman Catholic or Orthodox or Protestant.
Well, and it's interesting because like the ways that have been like led up to this sort of Ukrainian conflict that we're now seeing, it really seems like almost, you know, one of the reasons they want to take down Putin so bad is because he's like kind of a bulwark against that CIA power. I mean, we know that's one of the reasons that like we got led into this war, right? Was that whole tendency of, you know, the CIA created that color revolution, like, what was it, 2012, 2014. Absolutely. And then from there, you know, they're propping up sort of these different CIA-backed blocks in Ukraine and stuff like that, to the point where, isn't it the Ukrainian Orthodox Church under Bartholomew, like, will like venerate these Ukrainian nationalists who I don't even think they were like Christian, like they were like pagan or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, John McCain and the former head of the CIA flew over to the Ukraine to give an award to, I think his name's Dumenko, the guy that they set up as kind of the new schismatic Orthodox Church there, so-called. And what's funny about Bartholomew is that if you go back a few years, like, Bartholomew said that guy was non-canonical and never could be accepted. But when Big Daddy Uncle Sam puts pressure on Bartholomew, Bartholomew says, okay, he's cool now. So yeah, that's how it works.
Well, that makes sense.
I have no idea who these people are, Jay. You're attracting all the
Nick
Rockford.
Nick is Sam's. He's part of MD, $1 Million.
Oh, okay.
So $1 Million Stream is Nick and Sam and Charles. Yeah, I think Nick was raised Catholic, but he didn't say anything about whether he's like a practicing Catholic, so I'm not sure.
Okay, and then somebody is asking about what the future looks like for Israel. I hope not well.
Here's that article at Pinesap. If you want to read that.
Oh, yeah.
It's called Patriarch Athenagoras, the CIA and the State Department.
Yeah, because I had started to read about Dude, I'm so sorry. I still gotta get Greek names down. I butcher them so badly. I'm such an American, but Patriarch Athanagros, like his kind of connection to America being very
what? You can't say that on stream, bro.
I laugh about that. I was waiting for that.
I'm just gonna Athanagros. I remember reading about sort of his connection to CIA and stuff like that. I hadn't really explored it a whole lot, but it seemed like a really big issue kind of in the Eastern Orthodox world.
Yeah, you guys have heard of American Conservative, right?
Yeah.
Pretty well-known magazine. So I found this article. This is the big one that they published a couple months ago. CIA's man in Constantinople at American Conservative. That's another good article to read, which is kind of wild because like I did a podcast on that very topic in 2018, and a large portion of the Orthodox world called me nuts for talking about that. And now, like, this is after the Ukraine stuff, after the American Conservative is now publishing articles on this, it's kind of like known. But to talk about this in 2018, it's like they were like, "You're crazy. This is nuts." So,
well, and it's interesting because doesn't Rod Dreher run American Conservative, or is he just one of their more preeminent writers?
I know he's deeply involved in it. I don't know who actually runs it, but absolutely great point.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to always gatekeep people. I remember there was I mean, there was that like video that trying to remember. I think it was like the Distributist and Aaron McIntyre did, where it's like he just constantly is like gatekeeping and trying to shove people out. It seems like they did that with you. Like they were just trying to kind of gatekeep you, putting that under the rug. And then that article you referenced was the one written by Davis, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's like now they're just talking about it after you're talking about it since all the way back in 2018. It's like,
I think the Ukraine stuff really made this public to everybody.
Yeah, well, it's so interesting because like you have, I mean, even with to give kind of a comparable example, even with like the Israel conflict and stuff like that. I mean, like GDF, who he's like a lefty and stuff like that. I'm surprised YouTube is not taking down his channel based on some of the stuff he says. I mean, even as like kind of a more left-wing anti-colonial figure, he touches that topic in such a like controversial way. I'm surprised he hasn't had his channel pulled.
Well, yeah,
and it's like confirming all that stuff. Oh, sorry, go right ahead.
The Duran's another good point too, because they had me on. We had a whole podcast on this very topic. They cover this nonstop. So, and I mean, I'm glad they haven't been taken down, but yeah, they're in a similar boat. Like I'm surprised that like they've been allowed to. They're still monetized, which is great. But you know, like some people seem like who you say GDF? Who's that?
Oh, I just found him actually like 2 weeks ago. He's this like anti-colonial sort of more left-wing, like he made a stupid video saying like the kingdom of Israel wasn't real. And he cites some like revisionist biblical scholar who was disproved like a year later. But he's a streamer who's really been sort of attacking like the Israel lobby and what Israel is doing in Gaza. And he goes deep into it. He's even been saying stuff I didn't know about. And I guess the reason I brought that up in connection to Ukraine is like you were saying all that true stuff back in 2018, and now the conflict has almost given people the green light to talk about it. Mm-hmm. I think the same thing is with Israel too. Like if you talked about the Israel lobby back then and like the ZOA or what have you, people would like look at you like you have two heads, and now people can make YouTube videos on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm glad to see that the shift, you know, towards more free discussion. And you know, the chat there about Ben Shapiro upset with Wagner. I mean, I think Ben Shapiro himself is kind of to blame for a lot of this with the way he handled stuff. Like he's the one that kind of propelled a lot of these issues. And then Candace leaving, you know, daily, that kind of like blew up all of this stuff to be talked about in the mainstream. So
yeah, well, and it's created like a civil war because really before it's like guys like us, you know, varying degrees of popularity and stuff like that. We were gate kept. We were the weirdos. You didn't touch our stuff or whatever unless you wanted to go deeper into it. And it's like with Candace's departure from Daily Wire, it kind of blew off the lid on all these issues. And now you even have like Matt Walsh kind of starting to like poke and prod the Israel issue, and they're like bullying him into silence almost.
Matt Walsh has actually been kind of doing that for a while. He's sort of like the approved. He's allowed to criticize Israel a little bit. He's their sort of, their Shabbos goy for that on the Daily Wire.
Right.
And he's been doing that for years.
I don't know. Matt Walsh just strikes me as a little bit. I don't know how to put it. It's just, you meet that guy and he seems very artificial. That's like what I get from Matt Walsh.
His performance on Joe Rogan was so lame, honestly. Like when Joe started pressing him on the whole, skills marriage issue and stuff like that, and his defenses that he offered up, I'm like, dude, have you like read any books on this or even an article? Like you could have totally like just destroyed Joe there, and he kind of floundered. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then there was the issue where Joe Rogan asked him how many kids are going through transgender operations, and he said, I don't know, like 3 million, which is just categorically insane. And like Matt Walsh had done the documentary on this topic, and the actual answer is like 1 to 3,000, and he was off by 3 orders of magnitude, and just looked totally ridiculous on the internet for everyone to see.
3 million. Being off by orders of magnitude. That's
it's rough, especially when like you make the documentary on
under the wraps. Being off by orders of magnitude. We don't want to bring that up, guys.
Christian be like, guys, let's keep it PG for the stream and stuff like that. Just keeps poking the bear. It's like, what are you trying to do to me, big guy?
1 to 3,000, 3 million. If you're working with Ben Shapiro, you're already disposed towards the monkeying around with the numbers.
Yeah, well, no one's saying it didn't. No one's saying it's not happening.
Nobody's saying it's not happening. We're just questioning the numbers, guys.
It's like when they report the Mr. Burcham analytics, it's like 3 million viewers, 3,000 viewers.
Yeah. The Mr. Burcham, that's the.
Oh my goodness,
that's the most ridiculous stuff ever. These guys,
dude, and then the new norm. Did y'all see that on Twitter the other day? It was like Mr. Burcham Part 2.
It was better. Like it made me laugh. I thought it was
better.
Funny.
No, dude, the new norm sucked even worse. Like it was more.
This is the thing. It was secretly made by leftists. That's my headcanon. That just makes it just much more funny. It's a psyop the entire time.
They're like
that actually makes it funny. That's what's sad. I watched Mr. Burcham's pilot on this really sketchy website, and the problem is it was actually funny. The pilot for Burcham was actually.
Was it?
It was, yeah.
I don't trust you're Anglican. You think like women can be priests and transgenders can be bishops.
That's true.
My bishop's actually a woman, but
your bishop's actually a woman.
Yeah,
really?
yeah, but her bishop's trans.
Yeah. So how many hundreds of people is your bishop over? You're like what, like 8 people in your parish?
Dude, I do not have 8 people in my parish.
Dude,
it's actually 10.
How many people do you have under the age of 32?
Me.
It's one.
Oh, no. Big guy. What's going on?
We did have a Filipino girl wandering off the street.
Apostolic Christianity. It's like 3 people.
Yeah, dude, this is real. Like the 7,000 Episcopalian grandmothers shall inherit the earth. This is the faithful remnant.
I'm telling you, it's the Episcopalian grandma is giving like 10 grand a month because their husbands died 40 years ago, and they still have his his pension running in.
Yep.
That's what all these parishes are run by.
We joke about that, but that's like unironically true. I mean, like the donations and stuff like that these Episcopalian parishes get is kind of insane. It's the only life support that they have.
Yeah, I worked in an Anglican parish, and it was ACNA, but it only had there was only 30 people going there. And there was it was just a massive building. It was like $1.2 million building that they were easily paying off every month. We're only almost done paying off. I'm like, you have 30 people here. How are you? And they had like a full-time priest. They were paying me as well. My wife was like the secretary. And I'm like, you guys, they had I think they had a 4th employee too. And I'm like, you have 30 people and 4 employees and like a $1.1 million, $1.2 million building. Like, what is going on here with it? It's literally these grandmas just giving insane amounts of money to these Anglican parishes. Just let them all, let all of the Anglican parishes go after this generation dies.
No, the REC's doing pretty well. surprisingly though. Like the first REC church I ever went to, they were basically totally demographically blended until you got to like children, and then each family had like 12 children. It was kind of unreasonable.
Wow.
But they were doing really well. It was pretty surprising.
Yeah, I have no idea what. Jay, you're here and everybody's asking the weird questions. When are any of you Christian apologetics? I don't know what a Christian apologetics is. Ever going to do a deep dive on Alex insert man that nobody's ever heard of in the entire world? Why are you avoiding that book? Of the person none of us have ever heard of.
Yeah, well, I'm not an apologetics YouTuber. I'm a meme YouTuber, so.
If none of you guys have heard of this book,
so I think that if I know do 200 years together, I mean, it's a famous book. I mean, it's because it's going to deal with the Amish question. So it would have to be like for me, it would have to be like on members only type of.
It's a comprehensive history of Jews in the Russian Empire.
Yeah, well, and it's funny too. Or no, that wasn't the one that they tried to give. Jordan Peterson. I think it was wasn't it Gulag Archipelago?
Oh, I'm sorry, Gulag. You're right, Archipelago. Yeah.
Did they try to give to him? And there's that like leaked video where he's like, "I'm not going to
take this
from you."
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Wait, I want to hear your impression.
Not going to do it. Can't do it. Can't go there. No. Yeah. Yeah. That's what
you go up to Jordan Peterson. Jordan, do you believe in God? But like, what does that even mean?
Depends on what you mean. Yeah.
What does that even entail to believe? Like, the guy is just such he takes a question and he has to make it unnecessarily philosophical, you know?
Nothing's direct. Nothing's
direct.
Another question, yeah.
What do you mean by you? What do you mean by do? What do you mean by believe? What do you mean by God?
What do you mean by you? What do you mean by
man?
What do you mean by
crack? You haven't crawled through the belly of the dragon of chaos to rescue your father first.
I think the entire world is actually developing an awesome Jordan Peterson. Everybody will be able to do a perfect Jordan Peterson impression. We've been so saturated with AI.
We don't even need AI to clone his voice. We've got like 5 people right here who can already clone it.
Yeah, he's just like radioactively uncool anymore. It's like Ben Shapiro. He used to be cool back in 2016, and just they haven't evolved as people, and they haven't
Ben
changed.
Shapiro ever cool? I mean, let's.
He was, yeah, destroying
like
college students.
A whiny, like let's just be honest. That's all he was. Like that's all he was. He's just really whiny.
Well,
like, shut up, dude.
And what I will say is I do appreciate, Jay, that you were holding down the fort all the way back in like 2016, 2015, because like. I mean, really, at that time, it was just kind of like the SJW cringe, Ben Shapiro debunks kind of type people, and people who, you know, like yourself, who were a lot further along in a lot of these issues, I think kind of paved the way for them to be discussed more. You know what I mean?
Maybe in a minor degree. Yeah, I think Alex played a key role in that for sure.
I think so too.
I forgot that you got kind of like your break with Alex Jones.
Kinda. I mean, I think he helped us go to another tier maybe of influence. That led to the Tucker stuff and other things. But I mean, there was already a decent sized audience prior to that. But yeah, I think Alex is definitely what helped.
So how is he in person? Is he like kind of like wild like he is on streams?
Exactly. He's
the exact same. Yeah. Wow. I didn't expect. I thought that might have been like a little bit of
there's no like act with Alex. There's just Alex. Like the Alex act is Alex at all times. There's never like a shutting off of the character. The one time that I've seen him like kind of shut off is when he had several glasses of wine and got really tired. That was about the only time he like calmed down. But no, he goes 150% at all times. So
wow,
that's awesome.
Amazing. Because I hear he's getting kind of shafted right now.
Yeah. They thought they were going to get shut down a couple times, and then the judge ruled a couple weeks ago that they would be given a few more months. So they did actually try to go outside and skirt the courts and shut him down that one day. That's why he was doing that stream. But he went to the judge, and the judge was like, no, you can't do that. So the judge ruled that they could have a few more months to try to negotiate with the people that are involved in the suits and see if they'll come to some resolution. I don't know. Nobody really knows what's going to happen, but.
Dude, Unionist Initiative, the title he gave for this stream is epic. Jay Dyer joined, becomes Catholic. Massive reunion. It's amazing.
Well, I am happy to. I can concede that. Like, I'll say to you guys, like what kind of how would you guys want to proceed? Like, what's if we establish? I remember mentioning this to Classical Theist a while back, and then we ended up not really ever chatting much more. But I said, look, why don't we do this? How would you guys like to see the interactions going forward? And I can concede to that. I'll let you guys decide how you want to have the interactions. Like, for example, only like a formal debate setting if we debate a topic, or I don't know, like discuss things privately first, or like what, I don't know, whatever you think is the best method of interaction that doesn't lead to I don't know.
Like back and forth that are negative and stuff like that. Yeah. I would be cool with formal debates. I think formal debates sounds really nice. And I mean, also too, just for my part, like there's not going to be any crap talking from me anymore or anything like that. I always find like sometimes if there's a back and forth and then we reconcile, I become friends with anybody who I reconcile.
Well, I'll be honest with you. Like, I just like Ubi or Luigi would probably be who you would have a formal debate with on ecclesiology.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, Luigi, we got that debate July 26th, and then Ubi. Ubi is a very smart guy. I will say that, for all my antics or whatever, he is a smart guy, and I do want to work up to him, but I understand I got to study a lot more and stuff like that. I don't want to be out of my league, so to speak.
But you want to be. I mean, you wouldn't be interested in an epistemology debate, probably. Right.
Probably not, just because I haven't studied the question enough.
Wagner, did you freeze?
Is Christian still there? It seems like
did he drink himself into being like? I thought like he was like so drunk that he was like
frozen. I'm like, where did he go?
Wagner's running again. He's running away from the debate. Confirmed.
Just right as Jay opens up the question about setting something up, he instantly flags out.
I don't mean necessarily setting up a debate. I mean setting up like how you want to proceed going forward, so that we don't have to have like
Oh yeah.
Bad
bad
blood or whatever.
Oh, for sure. And there's frankly going forward at this point, like I said, once we have reconciliations like this, I'm cool with anybody who I have a reconciliation with. There's no bad blood on my part. It's water under the bridge as far as I'm concerned. I think frankly, I mean, I'm excited for the Luigi debate. So I think you're definitely right. If I was to cover more ecclesiology, he would be the guy to debate first, and then I think probably Ubi eventually. I would like to debate Ubi. I just realized I got to study a lot more and stuff like that before I make it.
Do you have other topics other than ecclesiology that you do really find interesting that you might consider debating?
Mostly, I cover like modern church politics quite a bit, like defenses of Vatican II and what have you. I tend to think moments in church history, like kind of like situational issues or what have you, like what went on during the like Great Western Schism, or like what happened during like the Great Schism or what have you. I also tend to like to debate. I'm mostly the history and ecclesiology guy,
though. No, nothing like biblical theology or anything like that.
I want to be there one day, and if I do get there one day, I'm totally down to set up something formal. I admittedly, it is a topic I'm studying more though.
Okay. That's cool.
When's this guy gonna come back, dude? He totally lagged out. Oh, Jay, I did have in the meantime, if we want to discuss something, I did have a question for you. I'm not too familiar. What's your view of the Orthodox Western Rite? Do you like the Western Rite? Are you neutral to it? What's your opinion on it?
I'm not personally a huge fan because of the tendency to import a lot of the Latin ideas. We do have a lot of friends and even priests that are close to us that aren't Western Rite priests. So in our perspective, from my perspective, the ROCOR Western Rite is typically better than the Antiochian Western Rite. I don't have any problem at all with the Western Rite itself. I I've attended some Western Rite services that I really enjoyed. I thought they were great. Very well done, you know, Petrine liturgy. So, but we have a we would have definitely a different. I would take issue with Sacred Heart, and for whatever reason, a lot of Latin Rite or Western Rite people want to bring in Sacred Heart. So I'm very opposed to that.
Oh, I totally gotcha. Because I was looking at I remember Orthodox Wiki had articles on like the different views, and it seemed like I was surprised because like Bishop Callistus Ware took issue with the Western Rite, and he always seemed a lot more like ecumenical or what have you. So I was kind of surprised on that issue. He seemed a lot more like
he does have some places where he says stuff that you wouldn't expect. Like he says some pretty, even though he's a little more ecumenist than I would be, he does like have some pretty savage critiques of like Latin theology at times. But I think he actually made some pretty cringy theological mistakes too. So there's stuff even worse than the like he has like an Nestorian statement in that book, Orthodox Way. I don't know if you've seen that.
Oh, I actually haven't seen any Nestorian statement. What did he say?
He seemed to just sort of repeat the idea that the Son was damned by the Father.
Oh,
and like he sort of repeats, it almost sounds like the Protestant PSA view. So
well, and I don't know. I was researching it for a while just because I another topic that I actually eventually want to write a book about is debunking like Alan Bray and John Boswell's like blasphemies in church history, especially in regards to Skittles people, and trying to kind of shoehorn that in with like the brother making ceremonies and what have you.
Oh.
But it seemed weird, like Ware seemed to have a weird view on like the Skittles people question.
No, he made a pro Skittles statement.
He did, because I wanted to be charitable to him. I think he had a very good heart, but I wanted to make sure I wasn't just like calumniating him or anything.
No, I think you're right. I think, and we've criticized that too, that towards the end of his life, he did make as far as I'm aware, in the Wheel, there's a pro Skittles statement that he made.
That totally makes sense. Well, and frankly, I mean, we can all agree, like Fordham University, what the heck is going on there? Like Catholic, Orthodox, it's like anyone, the last person who went to Fordham or was associated with it that I really liked was like Cardinal Dulles. And besides him, like everyone there is awful.
Well, there's, you know, I mean, I will be honest and admit that, you know, there's gay Orthodox bishops on the down low as well. I just don't think that it's as prevalent in the Western groups.
Yeah, Pope Francis said it's everywhere. I mean, that's what he said. Now, what was kind of your first thought when you saw the Francis anti-Skittles slur?
Honestly,
yeah,
I was literally thinking, how long until he walks it back and says something?
Yeah, I know. I saw that I mean, I kind of thought the same thing. And I saw, obviously, they came out with a statement like, sorry if you were offended or whatever. And then he did it again. It's like, okay, like what's going on here? Honestly, I think what it kind of is that there is I was actually just talking with my uncle about this, who's a Protestant. But in the American media or Western media in general, they see the Pope as a very powerful tool to push their agenda. So, I mean, if they can get the Pope saying something or kind of present him in a certain way, obviously, like, we can all see that there are some problematic things that happen surrounding Francis coming out of his mouth. I think it'd be kind of blind to deny that. But the media, what they're going to do is they're going to want to say the Pope said this, like, as kind of a mallet to smash you over the head with, and to push a sort of agenda. And the Vatican just hasn't been wise to be able to clarify. I'm no loft tonight. I don't know what level of a Pope splainer Pinesap is.
Do you guys attend the TLM, or are you guys like Novus
No,
Ordo?
I love the Novus Ordo. I'm a huge fan of the Novus Ordo.
I actually attend a Novus Ordo mostly every Sunday, but I still love the TLM and the Divine Liturgy. I'm kind of just I love all the liturgies of the church.
Yeah, he's a biz larper. He goes to the Divine Liturgy.
No, I don't go to the Divine. I literally went like last time, like not last Saturday, like
Yeah,
2
you're both
Saturdays ago.
Orthodox in communion with Rome. Get this guy.
Well, and then I go to my Novus Ordo parish pretty much every single Sunday. Besides that,
Yep. I had the honor.
Like I'm a real trad. I'm kind of like a fake trad, I guess. I actually use the for morning and evening prayer. I use the Ordinariate book because I was obviously an Anglican ordinand before I converted.
The Saint.
And you still venerate Saint Charles King.
St. Gregory. Right? Yeah, Saint Charles King and Martyr. No, I not the Saint Gregory's. The Saint Gregory's is the Book of Devotions, the Divine Worship Daily Office. Yeah, the one you were talking smack about, Pinesap, on the other day.
No, listen, I'm fine with that one. I just don't like the Book of Common Prayer.
Okay, what was up?
It's like the Catholic version of the Book of Common Prayer.
Dude,
but
what was
Jay, I had a
totally
question,
fine.
Jay. Actually, what's the nature of your like backgrounds with Perry Robinson?
I remember interacting with him initially a long time ago in a few emails when when his blog was kind of popping as like the main, like the only Orthodox theology blog. There wasn't a lot of apologetics back in like 2006-7 ish that dealt with that stuff. So I came across his blog at that time. And at that time, he didn't like any of the conspiracy stuff that I was talking about, because I was actually talking about a lot of controversial conspiracy topics in 2007. I had a blog back then. So I remember reading a lot of his blog. That's where I first got into the Thomistic and Essence Energy stuff debate in 2007. So I read a lot of his blog. I wasn't ready to go full Orthodox at the time. I was still Roman Catholic, pretty much trad cat. But we didn't get along at that time. Then I didn't talk to him at all for many, many years. We all off and on have chatted the last, 5 or 6 years, just in passing. We don't regularly communicate. I mean, I don't have anything against him or any critiques or problems with him. I think he obviously is not a big fan of the geopolitical stuff that I talk about. But I don't have anything negative to say.
Yeah, we're still waiting for the Ubi Petrus video from Perry. We've been waiting for that for a long time. Jay? Yeah, the EEV.
I don't know.
Yeah, we're still waiting on that.
I mean, again, like I talk to Ubi maybe once every couple weeks. So, but I don't know what the update is on where they're at with their video.
Who would you say is like your sort of main guy within like other Orthodox like apologists?
I mean, I still talk to all the mods in our Discord server. I talk to like Lewis and Kai of Orthodox Shahada. A lot of what we turned towards in the last couple of years was a lot of Islamic stuff. So I spent a lot more time probably interacting with Lewis, Kai, Dr. Branson, preparing for the Islamic debates. More so than focusing on any other specific Orthodox related stuff. So the thing with the Jake debate, for example, was that we planned that months ahead, and it ended up not being able to be done when we wanted to do it initially. And then I was basically buried in all these super boring Muslim texts. So that basically put me in the mode of spending most of my bro time talking to Lewis, Kai, and Dr. Branson. So that's my because Jake he's from a if I remember correctly, he's from a part of Islam who like doesn't accept simplicity at all. Like you would distinguish your view of simplicity from our view of simplicity, but you still obviously like affirm that God is simple, but he just denies it. Like, well, I think if I recall, he's a Salafi, but also many of Sunnis also, or maybe even most of the Sunnis also don't believe in a strict divine simplicity. They would say Allah is really distinct, or in some way significantly distinct from his attributes. The problem with Islam is that they use a lot of odd terminology that sometimes it's hard to translate into what exactly they're intending to mean.
Have you heard that clip where he says, "Wait, what do you mean by God being simple? Are you saying that he's stupid?"
Who sounds like Jake?
Surely
Jake's
pretty bad. But he's not that bad. Right?
Yeah. Have
No,
you
this
read?
is real. This is real. I'll find that clip for you.
No, wait. It's okay. Send it to me. I'll put it up. If
I mean, maybe did he say that a long time ago? I mean, or was he making a joke? I don't know. But I mean,
if you read T. Campino, his work on Palamos.
Yeah, I got it right here.
Yeah, I'm actually really interested. I don't know if you want to discuss it like in private later, but some of his comments about because I kind of Perry first got me onto it back when we were still talking, and I went through a lot of it, and I was like, okay, I think I basically agree with this. Is there was kind of like scholarship memes that were started by Roman Catholic authors like Zhugi. And that got absorbed into some Orthodox circles. There's obviously guys like Meyendorf that weren't buying into it. But like I read it, and I basically told Perry, I'm like, Perry, I have no idea why you told me to read this, because a lot of your like main theses are contradicted by Pino, like in a quasi explicit manner. And I asked him about it, and he's like, well, I was just following the scholarship at the time. And I'm like, dude, if you were writing on this guy in a sort of, if you're writing on this individual in a very high level, like why in the world are you contradicting a lot of contradicting what he actually says? Yeah, so that was my experience with Pino. I actually found Pino to be very helpful. But yeah, we can talk about that some other time. I have no idea who Hockey is. You have any idea who this Hockey is?
Yeah, they kept mentioning this Hockey individual. Oh, go ahead, Jay.
Separate from the Pino thing, without going into what all we argued about earlier today, there's two articles that I think might be helpful to understand where I was coming from in that discussion. There's an article that Congar wrote, and I'm not saying it's true because Congar wrote it. I'm just saying he gives a really good assessment of contrasting the Cappadocian and the Augustinian approach to relations and of opposition.
Yeah.
And relations of origin. So that was where I was coming from. And then there's another article that's from Losky that's about relations of opposition that I read several years ago. So that's where I was coming from. But
okay,
if you're referring to in Pino the discussion of the I'm assuming you're talking about either the Catapanoia conceptual distinctions part or the So there was another Thomist that came on my stream today after I had the argument with you, and we went pretty in depth into this. And what I realized was that the way that the debate goes with Palamos is probably the way that most of the time I would take the debate now, which is to go into what it is that we participate in, and then to talk about the theophanies. Because if you look at, for example, Leviticus 9, to me, that's probably the strongest case that I could think of. I mean, not just Leviticus 9, but that's one of the best theophanies where we have an explication of the Shekinah glory cloud being the uncreated glory. Well, I'll say the uncreated glory of God. And it's seen by all of Israel. And then they all fall down and worship. The divine fire manifests there, which we would say is the uncreated fire. And so the reason I think that was really strong is that it's answering this objection that the Thomist that came on, or Thomist/Scotus argument guy came on my stream.
Is that the critical Thomist guy?
No. It's the next person. I forget his name. He was something like, it was an anime profile. I forget his name, but
many such cases.
But the debate ended up being about the manifestation, right? Because Pino has this section where he talks about the manifestations in time and space, and he says they're God, and they come and go. And so the attempt to answer the question of the energies that come and go, which Palamos talks about in the third triad, is by Palamos. He also argues from the theophanies. So my solution to this is to say, look, maybe ultimately this comes down to an issue of rival metaphysics, that a Thomist doesn't see that as possible because of the metaphysical views that they have. And I understand that. I understand you guys would see that as a compromising of divine simplicity, divine impassibility. So I recognize that. I understand that's you guys' position. So my response would just be, I think the strongest case here is let's set aside the debates and disputes with Pino and this and that and Bradshaw and whoever. I mean, the uncreated glory in Leviticus 9 is in time and space. I don't think we could say God's glory is in any way a creature. The theophanies, therefore, would be my response.
So what would you like? Because we get strong statements in Scripture. If you think of like 1 John 5 off the top of my head, Exodus 20, you get like pretty strong statements in Scripture talking about divine invisibility, of God himself being invisible. So like from this is kind of from this perspective, that's where St. Augustine in De Trinitate books 1 through 3, that's where he's arguing, you know, it's some actually, he said, well, maybe this is some sort of thing in the intellect that's being infused in there. And he's like, well, I don't really think it's that. Well, I mean, it could be an angel. It could be, you know, it could be a created effect of something. So yeah, I guess my biggest issue with that, obviously, besides, you know, Thomistic presuppositions, I guess my biggest like exegetical issue would be about like divine invisibility.
Yeah, I would say the reason that I came to a stronger stress on this was actually the Muslim debates, because this forced me, when debating all these Muslims, to go and try to demonstrate that the Old Testament teaches the Trinity, particularly the Torah. Because if that's the case, that's really devastating to Islam, because of their view of the claims that the Quran is consistent with the Torah and the prophets. So if you can demonstrate that the Torah and the prophets teach the Father Yahweh, the manifestation of his angel messenger and the divine spirit being there, that's pretty difficult for Islam. And then Islam has to say, well, then the Old Testament's corrupted. And then, of course, that refutes Islam, because the Quran doesn't actually say the Bible's corrupted. But focusing on that in the Islamic debates made me realize that the way Jesus argues in, say, John 5-9, when he's debating with the Pharisees, he says, and I agree with you, that he says that that God is spirit, right? Well, he says that in John 4 to the one in the well. And he says in, I think, John 5, he says, no one has seen the Father at any time. So if no one has seen the Father, and we admit that God, in terms of his being or his essence, is his inner being, is not manifestable. This is a key argument Jesus makes against the Pharisees, that the only way that anybody in the Old Testament could have seen or interacted with him is if it's the Son. So the Son is the face and the manifestation of the unknown Father. And thus Jesus says, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. So it's a key point and we know that he's arguing that, because then the Pharisees say that he should be put to death because he's making himself equal to God by saying that he was there on Mount Sinai talking to Moses. Paul, I think, in 2 Corinthians 3 argues that Moses was seeing Christ face to face. He fills in the gap that where Exodus says that Moses saw God face to face. So there's two things said in Exodus. One is that no one can see God and live. No one sees God face to face. Then it also says in Exodus, yet Moses talked to God face to face as if he were a friend. But we also have the statement in Exodus 33 that Moses went up on the mountain with the elders, and then he has a meal with the Lord. So I would argue that it's not a angel. It has to be Jesus, because Jesus identifies himself as the one, for example, wrestling with Jacob in I think it's Genesis 38. In John 2, he says that he's the one wrestling because he's the gate. So to me, again, you're correct that God's essence and the Father are never seen, but we do have the glory of God, the presence of God.
So you think, like, I guess to make this a bit more concrete, try to get what you're saying, because it's like, obviously it's a theophany, it's a showing forth of God. Like we kind of all have to agree with that. I think the question is more so like what the medium of that is, or like in what manner it comes through. So you say that like Jacob was wrestling something that's like physical, corporeal, like he could feel it and things like that. So would you say that would be something that our Lord created as some sort of like instrument to work through? Would you say that that's him like coming back from like the future kind of thing, time traveling, incarnation, or something like that?
So Irenaeus has, there is an argument that Bishop Irenaeus makes from St. Irenaeus that it's possible to argue that in the case of the bodily wrestlings, or in the garden, walking in the cool of the garden, you could argue that the deified humanity of Christ could maybe be present prior to its actual incarnation. I don't personally find that very convincing because of the fact that it's not just a question of like the bodily wrestling. There's also these other theophanies, such as the glory cloud coming in, I think it's 2 Chronicles 5 into the temple when Solomon prays. And so you get this Shekinah glory cloud that comes down. That glory cloud is identified as the same spirit that hovers over the waters in the Shekinah glory hovering in Genesis 1. It's the same glory cloud that comes down over the tabernacle and the temple. And then we know from Marian theology, and I think you guys would agree, that that's the overshadowing above the Virgin Mary. So in our view, they're identified as the glory. It's the glory of God. And we know that God doesn't give his glory to creatures. And so we would say that it's not possible to interject the created intermediary, because we're always told that you can't worship creatures and that God's glory is not created. He doesn't give his glory to another. So I just can't see how we would say that it's, we know it, we all agree it's not the divine essence. And we all agree that, I think that, right, like we can't say God's glory is created. And all of the Muslim argumentation, it forced me into a stronger position on that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Do you think is it a thing in Orthodox liturgical practice to give latria to the cross, or is that just a Latin thing?
I mean, we do, you know, on exaltation of the cross, I mean, we all give it pretty significant prostration, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I don't recall off the top of my head if anybody ever said anything like, you know.
Yeah, because I mean, I guess
sure only have it be Julia. I mean, it's just
you ever you know this NFTU guy? He's been harassing me.
Yeah, he's annoying. I don't know.
He's annoying. Okay, I'll just ask. He keeps like spamming me to debate the papacy with him, and I keep explaining to him like, dude, this isn't my. I don't do papacy debates, so sorry. And he keeps just like spamming me, like, bring me on stream, please bring me on stream. It's like this old guy. I have no idea. Well, not that there's anything wrong with being an old guy. It's just it's like really weird. He's wanting to hang out with Zoomers or something.
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with that. It's like, but sometimes you get some people who they'll find some topic to kind of nitpick at you about. Like I did my whole stream on the question of anti-Amish sentiment, right? And there was some guy saying I was committing heresy when, you know, I was citing approved theologians by like Pius the 11th and even Venerable Pius the 12th. And he like would keep going at me over and over and over, like spam me on Discord. So it seems like sometimes there's some of these individuals that like you tick off in just the right way and they just keep coming after you. They almost like live you live rent free in their heads.
Bros are like, we want to see Father Joseph from NFTU on the stream. He's the only one saying it. Like, who's this we, bro? Like, who's this we? Who else is wanting it?
Yeah, I think that sometimes there's situations where it's just not worth really entertaining. Because like you said, like certain people will just never stop. Like, you know what I mean? Like they'll never stop.
Oh, legit. It's like, what do you do with that? You know?
Yeah, there's somebody asking. There's somebody asking. Duell. He was interested in debating epistemology. So I don't know if I can connect you two or whatever. If Duell, you want to?
I mean, if he's wanting like a serious like PhD level debate, Father Deacon Ananias has a PhD in epistemology. He'd probably be a better person than me if he wants like a super academic level debate on that.
Yeah, so we can set that up. And people are just asking random questions. I don't know about this James Maudsley guy.
Oh, well, I know about him. He was like the Fraternity of St. Peter priest who I guess like left his post essentially. And he, again, another writer on the Amish question. He has been writing actually really good books on that question. But
dude, I just got what you meant about Amish.
Yeah. Oh,
I literally just got that. I didn't know this whole time. I was super confused. I'm like,
I heard that like an hour ago. You didn't know what? Did you really think I was talking about the Amish?
Yeah, I thought you guys were like talking about the Amish in Russia, and I'm like, dude, this says it's not in Russia. Like, come on, guys.
The reason I started using
right here.
Yeah, the reason I started using that when Jay used that is because Anthony during our Avoiding Babylon episode on YouTube used that as well, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that was like a secret term or whatever. So I just wanted to use it too to avoid any of the censors. But Yeah, he's written great books on that, but he's straight up like schismatic. Like some of the stuff he says is, vegano levels of schismatic. So I think on those questions I would avoid him, but on his Amish question stuff, he's very, very, very good.
The Amish.
I actually did have a question for Jay when we have a lull in the conversation.
Can I send you guys? Are both of you guys interested in the 2 articles I was talking about?
Oh, I'd be very interested in it, Jay. Do you want me to? I think unfortunately I still have you blocked on Twitter. Do you want me to unblock you real quick, brother?
Yeah, I can do that.
Jay and I
can unblock you too. I think I'd have to unblock you as well.
There we go.
Unblock each other on our own. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, you already unblocked me. Let's go.
So here is the. Maybe I should put both you guys in a group. Maybe
that's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, Unionist Initiative wants Jay to unblock him. I feel bad because I like overlooked all of Unionist Initiative super chats. So
hey, dude, you're leaving our boy hanging? What's going on?
Well, let me see. What is his at? Yeah, everybody's trying to get on the Jay. We can make some good money off this stream. Everybody, $20 for Jay to unblock you. We can split it 50-50.
It's great.
What these Unionist Initiatives?
Right, hold on, I'm trying to create a group with you two in it. Let's see.
Yeah, he's having boomer moment right now.
No, I gotta hit create group. That's what I was doing wrong. Boomer moment.
Okay, so I've tracked down the Jake the Muslim metaphysician clip. Here's
cool.
the problem. A Lutheran has it and he won't give it to me because he's pissed because of all the war I've been having with Lutherans on Twitter.
Dude, Lutherans are the worst. Lutherans are like the Amish of Christianity. Like, let's.
I'll tell you who.
That's kind of true, actually.
Yeah.
Well, because, dude, some of those Missouri Synod Lutheran guys are like straight up like Natsock. Like they get really into to the point where it's a little
base.
Not in a based way, like
not in a based way. Okay.
Like in a way, like they, because like when I say that stuff, like I don't hate anybody or anything like that at the end of the day, but like they like actually do, and like I've gotten DMs from them before, like I'm gonna find you, I'm gonna find your address and do something, and it's like okay, yikes.
Dude, I'm in North Carolina, bro. You don't want to do that.
I'm an NC baby. You're not gonna do that.
Yeah, you're not gonna do it. The title is clickbait, right? No, Jay actually just converted, guys. He's going to his first clown mass next week.
It is. I'm actually the presiding Eucharistic minister, so Jay has to receive from me, believe it or not.
The last mass I remember going to was a hip hop mass, actually.
Really?
Yeah. It was like it's weird because it was largely Hispanic, so I would have thought it would be more like a
mariachi,
like pinata mass or something. But
I would go to that.
They brought out like a black dude singing kind of like a hip hop kind of thing with all Mexicans. It was really weird.
That's terrible. You used to go to the Novus Ordo. I thought you were like SSPX.
No, I went. I'm saying the last service I ever went to. It wasn't. I was traveling, and I remember we got up to go to mass, and then it was like, well, we just have to go to the closest one, and it was somewhere like outside of Nashville, and it was like a largely Hispanic parish. So, but no, I usually was going to the Latin mass.
This is like the worst Cole of any comment in here. You're scared to debate Pearl.
She had me. I did an in-person interview in Miami with her. What do you mean? Like we sat there and like talked about all the issues that she thinks I believe are crazy. So she's like, so like, do you believe in conspiracies? Is like everything a conspiracy?
Dude, I'd rather like take a 2x4, get a big nail, take a hammer, drive the 2x4 drive the nail with the hammer through the 2x4, put it upside on my floor, and then take a big jump and put it right through my foot. And then
with
spend 5 seconds talking with Pearl.
With some Legos around that 2x4.
Yeah, and then I'll pour some lemon juice on it after.
Well, after we did that, she was like,
Pearl,
oh yeah, this is just for my
like when I listen to Pearl, my wife despises Pearl every time it comes up. She's got like room temperature IQ, and it's the worst.
Pearl too. So
yeah, what's it? What? I don't get how somebody like her gets so popular, because I mean, like, some of these influencers, you know, they're like generally like attractive looking, you know, people who, you know, are talking about this stuff, and that's sort of why people listen to them. Like, you know, the last few e-girls that kind of popped up in the right wing, but like Pearl is none of those things. I don't get why. What's the draw to Pearl? You know, what is she? She's not like brilliant or anything like that. Like, what's the draw for her?
I think her draw, from what I can sort of estimate, in the bit, I followed the red pill scene just through this one guy on YouTube called Araco TV. It seems like people like her because she's so edgy or controversial. Like, she'll kind of double, like a red pillar will make a statement about women and she'll like double down on it. But she's not particularly bright. It's just kind of rage bait that I think makes her popular.
Is hockey, is that a like anime thing, guys?
I don't know what
my writing sample's the problem, the criterion. So yeah, I'll debate him. Oh, cool. Yeah, we can get that connected.
Is he talking about FDA?
The duel guy.
Debating Father Deacon Ananias?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll ask FDA if he wants to.
Christians are, no, I didn't mean it like that, dude. I'm married. I didn't mean it.
I think she figured out. I think she kind of is actually kind of funny, because I've been on her podcast 2 or 3 times.
You think women are funny?
No, I'm saying Pearl is at times funny, but on the average, no, women are not very funny.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is that so she'll double down and just kind of say ridiculous things that gets a giant bunch of attention, and she got good at doing that on the regular. So I think that's what blew up her.
Women being good at getting attention. Imagine my shock.
Are you shocked?
Well, yeah. What's your thoughts on the religious hippie question? You ever have religious hippie pop up?
What does that mean?
Oh, religious hippie. She's this like Catholic right wing e-girl, and she just posts the worst coal. She'll be like posting selfies of herself in a mantilla, be like, wearing the veil is not for me. It's about God, and it's like this like lacy, like white lacy mantilla thing that she's wearing on her head. It's such coal, and all these guys. There's an account called Catholic Sims. It's a beautiful account. There's all these guys, like, I think she's married now, but there's all these guys like simping in her comments, like, "Oh, you're so beautiful," and you go and there's these like 50-year-old Catholic guys like behind the accounts. It's a religious hippie call.
No, I haven't heard of that.
And there was some we mentioned old Catholics earlier. There was some like creepy old Catholic priest that like was, I don't know if it was like commenting under her stuff, but like he would just be like, "You're so beautiful, Queen." He's like, you're so precious. You're so beautiful. I'm like, come on, buddy.
The simping old Catholic priest. That's funny. That's actually pretty funny.
It literally is like, if you took,
but it's funny.
I mean, it's like if you took like random character attributes, shook them up in a bag, and just took whatever spilled out.
To be frank, while a religious hippie while dating the guy was flirting with Uniate Papist. Oh man, Uniate Papist. That's a coal mine right there. I heard Jay. This Uniate Papist guy said that you accidentally blocked him on 4 different accounts. Like 4 of his accounts got blocked by you. And I'm like, man, this guy is like,
he's doing something right. Then.
Yeah, he's doing something right. He's getting blocked on 4 accounts. Yeah, I'm glad that Jay clarified that women are unfunny. I was about to leave the stream for a second. Yeah, I've never like, my wife, she'll always try to show me these like Instagram reels and stuff. Just never find them funny. It's impossible. I know it's coming from a woman, so I'm instantly disposed not to find it funny.
I think very few women are funny. I think Kristen Wiig can be funny. I think Anna Faris is funny.
I'm a stone cold incel, so I find 0 of them to be funny.
Oh wow,
dude, you're married. You're again stolen valor. You're trying to take incel stolen valor right now. Everyone in chat say stolen valor.
You can be married and you can be an incel. It's possible.
No, you have to be a weirdo and you have to make like all women scared of you. That's how being an incel is.
You know, women are scared of me. I told you earlier. You know, I scare women all the time. All you got to do is like late at night when you're going to the gas station, like you see the single mom going filling up her gas. You just have to like, you know, have to put your head down, put your hoodie hood up, and you have to like walk quickly towards her car. You know, you walk right by her. It's like,
every single time I talk about incels, it reminds me of that like Channel 4 daytime television episode where it was like, this is how someone gets like becomes an extremist or whatever. And the guy's like typing some ridiculous tweet like all women should have something horrible happen to them, and then like a drop like black pill like drops out of the frame and like into his mouth, and he like enters in this like digital space where he's like an incel black pill schizo weirdo. It's so funny how like the mainstream media conceives of like our subcultures.
Are you scaring virtue into the single moms at night by you're like frightening them into being virtuous?
I'm telling you, all I do is I raise rent on the single moms. That's all I do. every month, you know. I look through and I see all the clients, and I see, okay, like married, okay, good, married, single mom, like double the rent on the single mom real quick, you know. My wife is in the computer. Oh, you anime. What do you think about anime people, Jay? I think you're red pilled on the anime question.
I don't know what you mean by red pilled on it. I've never really
red pilled on it. Anime sucks.
I've never
sucks so bad. Dude, I don't know why these people have like little anime girls as their profile pictures. It's kind of.
I've always thought it was weird.
It's pretty odd.
When's the
I'm gonna be honest. Like I'm not even
just a younger thing, like 25 and younger. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't get why that's. Yeah, I think it's about that age range. But I have no idea. It's like some of these anime girls are like 12 years old in their like series. Like why are you having this anime girl like drawn as your profile picture?
Somebody had a big argument, like an aesthetic argument one time they were presenting to me, which was interesting. I wasn't buying it, but they had this really worked out philosophy of like people are grasping and desiring some kind of aesthetics that's missing in the West. And so they find that appealing because of it. I don't know, the connections that they have, that people that are into it are really into the themes and the aesthetics together. And that, I don't know, it was some argument like that. But I remember watching, I thought Ghost in the Shell was a pretty interesting anime movie. I watched some of that Miyo Hayazaki stuff maybe 15 years ago, but I've never been into it. To me, it seems like it's a foreign style that I don't have a problem with people appreciating foreign art styles, but it's not really Western man's styles. You know what I mean? And somebody might say, well, but your icons aren't, actually, I think Greece and even Russia are actually part of, you know, I mean, Western tradition isn't just restricted to America or, you know, Europe. I think you can have I would include Byzantium in that tradition as well.
I definitely would too. And I think like the anime profile pic stuff it's fine if it's like, you know, the main character from like Cowboy Bebop or whatever. Like I wouldn't think twice of that. But yeah, the little girl stuff does come off as very odd and it makes me uncomfortable.
Wait, so what did that? Somebody said something in
like
the chat. Yeah, why do you bring all the weirdos in the chat, Jay? There's somebody let me see this person. I can't find. Oh, there it is. Jay Dyer won't debate Peter Diamond. Jay Dyer debate Peter Diamond. Somebody created a whole account just to come and, you know, I don't blame you. But everybody always tells me to debate Peter Diamond. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it.
Well, I mean, that's like you're saying with like the other guy, the weird non-canonical dude saying you need to debate him, the Orthodox person. Like certain people, it's not really worth it because like that, it sort of legitimizes that position. But if it's a position of people who literally don't have any episcopacy, but they're supposed to be, you know what I mean, monastics, to me, it just doesn't even seem logical to do. And I already kind of did a response to what I think about sedevacantism several years ago. I did like a 3-hour breakdown of a book that I think is kind of the open and shut case on sedevacantism. So I don't know what the point would be to rehash all those arguments again.
Yeah.
Oh, was that John's book? How sedevacantism proves Eastern Orthodoxy?
Well, it's called Sedevacantism Delusion is the main title, but I think that is the subtitle. Yeah, John Pontrello's book.
I actually, believe it or not, I used that book during my debate with Jim Condit on sedevacantism. He's got a lot of good stuff in that debate, actually. It's like a treasure trove for resources.
Is he I don't know who that is. A set of a contest.
Oh yeah, he's a set of a contest broadcaster. He's much older. He's a boomer, so he's like, on the airwaves. He's not even online, but he was a really nice guy, and we had a really good debate on set of a contest.
Let me see. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure all of your super chats got put on the screen. Let me see. There, all your super chats have been put on the stream because it's almost it's past midnight right now, so I got to go to bed. But thank you, Jay.
Yeah, I got to head.
This was fun. Let's do it again some other time. I think this
honestly,
would be great.
I'm down. This was really fun.
To chill, talk about whatever, answer chat questions and see where the conversation leads. But thank you, everybody. As always, remember to like, subscribe, Patreon. You guys already know about all that stuff. And as always, God bless.